Double KO!
What is up, guys? Welcome to Double KO Radio, episode 61. DKO 61. We in there, baby.
Made it.
This past weekend was DNF Duel's second beta, which came almost as a bigger surprise as the first beta because it just kind of shot out of nowhere.
But, I know. I remember telling you, Matt, like, yo, check this out right now. And it was the beta.
Yeah. And I remember you had asked me recently, I was like, yeah, dude, you think there's going to be another beta? I'm like, dude, if we got a date for the game, there's no way unless it's happening like real soon.
I believe, bro. It's like, I believe.
And then, 2 days later, you sent me that. I'm like, ooh. Oh my God. It's happening.
I was like seeing that like Christmas, right?
But if you really think about it, they were kind of teasing a lot of stuff beforehand on Twitter, showing little like bits and pieces of Ghostblade. Like they were being more active as the leading up to the weeks. Yep. Randomly they show up not a patch notes. There was something. They showed something before the patch notes. I forgot what it was. Yeah. The move list came up again. I told you last time. I was like, well, the last time they did move list was when the beta came out. So
yeah.
And then when they showed the move list, after that they announced the beta, and then we get patch notes for the beta, which whether you think it was useful or not, because it was small changes apparently, right? It's not like a huge amount of changes that people are like, whoa, this game's radically different. It was still really nice of them to give people that information because historically, fighting game developers have not been the most engaging and informative, to what people in this community want, like the kind of information this community thinks is important for them to play the games.
And for a beta, right? Like the fact that you mentioned, like, right, hey, they announced the beta, and then they announced like the changes in patch notes, even though there's slight changes and stuff like that, like you mentioned, they wanted you to be aware, hey, this is what we changed, so maybe they can get more data out of that, right? So when they do like a survey or something afterwards, hey, this is the changes, so try to pay attention to that, let us know how you think about it. I think that was cool. I checked the other characters too, I think, but the other characters seems like in the move list, I think it was the same, so that's why we were more thrown off. I was like, oh, maybe they're just showing Ghostblade move list, and then bam, it the overall changes.
And it sucks because I didn't think to like save that link anywhere, and every now and then when I was playing in matches, I was like, all right, what move was this? How do I do this?
You got lost.
How do I do this again? And then I lost it. I couldn't, but I didn't want to stop from playing I didn't think it was important enough for me to stop playing to go, all right, let me find this thing.
It's like a kid that needs to go to the bathroom but doesn't want to stop playing.
Yeah, I don't want to get up. But it would help me maybe in the long run. I don't know, but I don't want to get up. I figured I'm the way I lab in the game is just playing it right for now. So I figured I'd find it.
That's the way to go. That's the new.
I figured I'd find it.
And that's speaking about that, right? So in this beta number 2, right? I want to call it. They did a lot of the same things, right? At least for comparing it to the first one. In terms of like how you match make, right? How you connect, how you change some of the profile things. They added Ghostblade avatar, right? So you can at least see it, the little chibi guy, or you can put it in your profile. Not sure if they added new titles, but it seems like it was more just adding Ghostblade to it, right? Like the addition of Ghostblade, like if it was just like a Ghostblade expansion. Basically.
Yeah.
And then the matchmaking was still the same, right? We still had to go into create a random room or search for specific limited options and then figure out who we find, right? That wasn't the best experience, but we cracked the code, right?
Yeah.
we would figure out like one specific room or how many arcade cabinets can be in my room, and then you would search through that, and then you probably find me easier.
Yeah.
We found each other right away, I think.
Yeah, it was pretty fast this time around. There was a lot. It didn't feel like I don't know. I think there's a lot of people worried about certain things now because it didn't feel that much different. Like they're giving us this amount of game, but there's the information on any other upgrades to the game still's not out there.
No,
like,
not at all.
Like we have no idea what single player is looking like. We have no idea other modes and all that other stuff. So it was basically the exact same thing, but there still felt like. I remember you and me going like, wait, are there new colors? I don't remember this color. Did they add new like little cosmetic parts to these characters. I don't remember if this shirt was like this or if this sword was like that.
There's some hidden, they call them those the hidden patches, right? Like
Yeah.
the hidden changes. And maybe could have been just us that we haven't seen the game and we had an impression of what it was, right? Because this game is like an event. It never show up. It show a bunch of trailers. A first beta came up.
Yeah.
Then it disappeared. Like the Avatar when we needed him the
Yeah.
most. And then boom, again, we start seeing some trailers, some little movement, boom, another beta. So maybe our impressions, right, is so abruptly there that maybe certain things is just maybe we don't remember as it is. But for me, something felt different.
Yeah.
I just couldn't tell if the colors were different.
Well, right away, based off of the patch notes too, like we the first thing we tested was the movement speed, and the walking didn't feel different, but I'm surprised not many people caught on to this, but immediately we felt like they buffed the hell out of the roll or the dash or the dodge or whatever it's called in the game. And we tested it too. We were like full screen and did it once, and we were like in each other's face.
Feels like it's more distant, right? More distant?
Whoa, mine definitely
Right?
feels like it goes farther.
Right?
Dude, that's a whole screen.
Mira, one touch.
Yeah.
Like, okay, yeah, this is
What's
different.
up?
This feels different.
Yeah, and maybe it's part of that whole movement speed that in some code got changed and it buffs that too, right? Because one of the main concerns in the previous beta, I guess, ongoing team was like, hey, movement speed, maybe a faster dash. They never said anything about the back dash, only the movement speed forward.
Mm-hmm.
And because you can only roll forward, right? You cannot roll back. Maybe that in the code got changed. And dude, you will do a roll and you'll be like, whoa, where am I?
Yeah, and it's cool because it makes this game's known for having gigantic buttons, and I think for characters that don't have the most gigantic buttons, it appeals to them, like grappler or maybe even striker, that they'll have an easier time getting in because they're just boom right in your face instead of having to do it like 2 or 3 times to try and get in there, because it is a risk. It is a risk mistiming when you do it.
Yeah, it's not
and
safe.
and then you get punished by whatever the other character's follow-up would be. But I feel like that definitely shifts a little bit how certain characters would be playing certain matchups.
Yeah, at least if they continue with that, right? I also noticed that more people, maybe indirectly, were rolling more. At least to my faint memory.
Yeah.
They were definitely rolling way more in this time. And I think it's because they probably felt, it works better for them, or it looked more in their best interest when they do it, right? Like it was like, oh, I'm already up here, or I can definitely get out of the situation, because you can recover from the ground while rolling as a reversal.
Yeah.
And that puts you quite far from the corner, right? It doesn't feel like I'm still in the corner. It doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely felt more people were rolling. And maybe that's a hidden patch. Once again, like hidden patch node update or something like that happened there. But it's interesting to see. But not everyone, right? I think probably noticed. I don't think I heard anyone talk about the role, and no videos and no.
Yeah, I mean, we don't consume everything, so somebody must have mentioned it.
We are the internet.
Oh yeah.
This is the place to be. The OKO is where you find everything. Right?
Yeah, this is the source of all fighting game news, except for a bunch of it.
But in terms of the gameplay itself, did it feel any difference? Like you playing it yourself, like you pressing the buttons, did you feel more familiar with it?
I mean, it still felt. I didn't get to play it as much as I wanted to this time because I still, it came out of nowhere, so I couldn't schedule anything or be like, no, I can't do that. I already had previous plans and engagements to go to, so a lot of the time that I could have spent on this, I had to do other things, which is fine because it's not like I didn't get to experience it still.
Yeah, you still played it.
Yeah, so it felt good. It still felt. I didn't come out. I know some people had come out of this one feeling less excited for the game than they previously did, especially because, and I think it's a lot of Twitter clips that do that to people when they go, "Oh, this is a thing. This was discovered. I don't know if I want to deal with that." And then it just kind of skews their whole mindset on what they think about the game. But I still had fun. But the thing is, with me this time around, I felt even less inclined to learn and more inclined to just press buttons, because it's coming out so soon. I know you made a joke while we were recording that Because like almost like it dawned on you, like, oh my god, imagine if this thing doesn't have a training mode at the end of it. Yeah, and not because of us, but because imagine how the uproar everybody would have.
Like how the impact it will have.
Yeah, but like I'm more like when I'll learn when the thing comes out. I just felt more like just having a casually good time, not really worried about anything but out neutraling my opponent if I could. You know,
so it felt fun just pressing the buttons and playing it and stuff like that.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
I stuck with less characters too. Last time I probably had like 4 or 5 characters I was cycling through, but this time since I had less time to, it was mainly Ghostblade and and Ranger when I didn't want to play a Ghostblade Mirror, and then like a little bit with you I played Inquisitor just because when I touched her again when we were partnering up just testing things out the first day, I noticed her speed felt really great. Everything else felt kind of the same, but her movement speed in general, I guess, might have been upped a little, but I didn't play her too much in the first beta anyway. But she's one of those like characters that I feel like take a little bit more time to get like a good feeling on how you would want to play them. So she's more. Oh wait, the motorcycles. Hold on.
Yeah, I hear it. Sorry.
Just wait for it to pass.
Yeah, sorry.
She's more of a character for me that I feel like I'll invest more time into when the game comes out, because I feel like she potentially could have a lot of.
No, you just want to throw a fire wheel. You can
or
just
that's the thing.
Fire wheel.
I'd rather throw a giant samurai at people than a fire wheel this time around.
Come on, he can't get hurt. He's a weak samurai. I think for me, I think I feel most of the same that you mentioned. But for me, Phil, maybe my mind or my hands were more familiar again now with the game since from the previous beta, that everything just connect easier, right? Like everything that I was doing felt more like I understand it better.
Yeah.
And this felt like almost like the appetizer. This second beta felt like an appetizer to the meal, right? That's gonna be the game release for me. Because yes, I didn't went to try to learn everything, but it felt more like I was so more accustomed on what to do and what to press. And which was cool. It felt good. I didn't feel kind of lost with my controller or button placement and stuff like that. I did play more Ghostblade in this one because he was the new guy, of course, so he looks the coolest.
Oh, one thing too, David. Sorry to interrupt, but I forgot to mention this. Also with that whole like learning thing, I didn't feel like learning directional inputs because there's like a and then like I just stuck to the easy inputs because like. If I pressed any kind of direction, I feel like I'd get a little bit more lost in the match because I was just not doing it. Even though it'd be beneficial to like what my mana gain or whatever, or how much that gets taken away, I didn't really care.
Because if you do it manually, you get a little bit less consumption of your muscle.
And I'm a player that needs a lot of muscle memory, so I just stuck to the whole direction thing. Even with Grand Blue, like the direction thing wasn't really something I did. The only thing I did it for was DP. I feel like I'll be the exact same way. Just have like an instant get off me move. Yeah. But everything else, I'll input it like a fighting game. Almost like basically like how I forgot there's a block button because I just don't.
I didn't use it.
Like muscle memory for me is like block. Block the direction you're blocking and not pressing a button for. Maybe for like MK players trying this. Their muscle memory is like holding down the button, but for me, I just it's something I didn't use. But maybe in the future I might have to.
Yeah, I think the block button just to follow. I use it for dodge, right? Because you use that to do the dodge thing. But I never was like, oh, he's attacking me. Let me hold this button type of thing. And maybe for others will be great. For me, it felt more like I was more accustomed to what to do. Like remember, I was like. Forward, the back, like I was think about like Smash Brothers. I told you, right? Like to do a special move here, you have the down special, the forward, the back. And in the first beta, since we're more used to doing movements before going into this game, I would get lost in what direction does what. I was like, what does forward does? What does back does? Like I would be more lost, and I would just press and they'd be like, oh right, that is that move. But now in this beta, I was way more accustomed, more familiar maybe. That I didn't have to think about what those back special moves or forward special move or normally down special move, which is normally a reversal in most cases. And I already had that embedded in my head, so that felt really nice. Like I felt like I attuned to that game. I played less characters that I played in the other one, in the first beta.
Yeah,
sure.
I think the first one we almost split up in half, like
Almost evenly.
not
yeah.
even on purpose. It was just like we would just kind of had like one half of characters, and you happened to play the other half.
I think this one I only play like maybe 2 characters, if any much. I did try some of the other, but definitely stick to 2 characters, which is Striker and Ghostblade, and a little bit of Berserker that I play.
And the Dragon Knight a little bit too.
Correct, because that's when until I figured something out with that character and how it plays, and I was like, oh, this seems really interesting.
Yeah.
But then again, I was like gravitating back to Striker and to Ghostblade. The move thing, I think, I don't know, it felt natural to me, not having to do that command motion for a special move.
Yeah.
I think this game does a good job on presenting. When you do a special move, it looks so cool and it looks so appealing that your mind doesn't go and focus. Like Granblue, an example, so I can get a better understanding. So in Granblue, you throw a fireball, right? Let's say with Gran, and that's just pressing one button, and the fireball comes out.
Yeah.
In this game, it felt more that when you press that one button, your character does so much more. It looks so much grand and exaggerated that it doesn't feel something as simplistic as a fireball going from the corner. You'd be like, oh, maybe I could have done the move, instead of just pressing the button. I think those moves look so crazy that it makes you look, yeah, I did that instead of.
Like even just not even the special moves, but like like an example, Ghostblade standing heavy slash or whatever the hell that is.
Yeah, super. Get off.
I don't know what the button. I don't know what to call. Me and you were calling them by like light, heavy, medium, light, medium, heavy, and special. That's how we were calling it because we don't even remember like what the actual names for the buttons are.
Slash.
But yeah, he's just slashing away.
Yeah.
It's an anti-air.
Looks like a super.
It's a block. It's like something to keep you in block stun. It
juggles you.
Yeah, it can juggle you into linking it to something else. It does so much, and it's just one button.
You can command normal it, right?
Yeah.
You can do both forward or backwards command normal, and they both look like different outcomes for base. Yeah, I just think that's what I'm saying. Like in Granblue, the things feel so simplistic in terms of like what they do when you press a button. The character does like one thing. When in here, that one action can take half of the screen, and it looks flashy, and so it looks more rewarding. I don't know. It felt cooler for me, and it didn't bother me not doing a motion. I don't think I ever did a motion.
Yeah.
In that game, especially even with the whatever they call the awakening arts and stuff like that.
Yeah.
One button. I press one button, and it did it. I don't know what the real command is. I don't know.
Which is fine because like people talk about accessibility a lot and in a negative way, but I don't know. Maybe we just gotta give it a different name. Like how like
ease of life,
or like it's like optimized. It's optimized. Like it is
optimized because
right?
if you sorry to interrupt you, because if you match that with people using macros for certain buttons to dash or to do certain things, then that's the equivalent.
I think maybe in 5 years we'll call it that. Well, it's like it's an optimized fighting game, so it makes things.
Take the time machine and we go back.
No, but it's fine. I mean, it's fine. Accessible games for me are something I think of differently than probably a lot of other people because I have reoccurring hand issues. So for me, I don't even think of it as something that's like, well, this guy, I can't believe if he had to do a motion like that, I would not get hit because I'm so good and above everybody else. How dare this game go against me? Maybe you've heard that in one or two streams that you've heard before from certain people, right? People talking that way where it's the game's fault, the game's problem, and the game's reason that they're not winning as fast or as often as maybe they should because they are so good. But for me, this accessibility thing just kind of helps me out when it comes to like how much I can play the game, how long I can play the game for, or how much breaks I need to take, or how many, or how much like I feel like I can withstand it. It's like it makes it and it doesn't take anything away from the gameplay for me because it still feels like, well, we both players have the exact same options. It's not like you're locked. One player is locked to doing motions and the other player is locked to doing direction inputs.
Yeah, does more damage. Like like, oh, he does that, is unblockable, or something dumb,
Yeah.
something that is completely like an advantage over the person not doing it.
Yeah. So I'm an advocate for optimized fighting games.
Yeah, I mean, hey, hashtag optimization. I agree. I think for me, once again, I think in the gameplay of this did not bother me in terms of doing the move. I wanted to do the move. Actually, I wanted to keep doing the moves.
Yeah, but here's the thing too, David. Before you get any further, you're a Rangers player, right?
Mm-hmm,
They have inputs similar to this.
Very similar.
But the thing is, the game is a very how do I put this? The game is not forgiving in the least, right?
Oh,
to
yeah,
a player's
yeah.
mistakes.
You get punished if you do
And
something.
if you're
You don't get
coming-
away with murder.
Yeah, and if you're coming from games that you have options like that, I think this one's falling even more into the realm of Power Rangers, where you're punished even harder for what people are finding out on Twitter, right?
Yeah.
That you're getting punished even harder, or you could even die in 2 hits or 1 hit, as people find stuff even without a training mode.
Yeah.
So I think people that have an issue with that just are having, they don't have that grit that Power Rangers players get, where they're just like, if I love the game enough, I'm just know if one of my people get touched, they die.
Like, this is part of the gameplay, the gameplay cycle. Like, this is part of the gameplay cycle.
Yeah.
Like, I should not be doing an example. I did a mistake, and I did my mistake, and now I have 2, 3, 4, 5 resources that, you know, slash me in the hand and puts me safe spot for making that mistake.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, doesn't mean there's no other option. There's conversion in this game, which allows you to do certain things, but it comes conversions that you take a part of your white health that you get as you're blocking.
I don't know why people
call,
call it white. It's gray.
It looks white to me.
It looks gray to me. I'm calling it gray
not.
life.
It's because you like gray.
No, well, yeah.
I want to call it gray because I like it gray.
Hey, man, I don't want to accidentally say like your white life matters or something.
Oh
and then
my god!
And then it becomes all weird and awkward.
Yeah. Okay.
It's
so
like gray life.
bar.
So gray life.
So moving on to the gray bar. It's just gray bar reminds me of work, and I don't want to talk about it, but the gray.
Oh yeah, just call it gray life, man.
I guess the gray thing. But anyway, that resource for conversion, it's kind of like, it's like Strife, and I didn't dwell much in it, but I definitely saw more people doing more of it this time around, like doing some really cool conversion stuff like that things that will put you on safe, or like you mentioned, you will get punished. They will use their own resource and a little bit of health to be able to put in a better situation. You know, it's not like the game is like, I'm gonna press a button and you're right now you're safe, you know, like Vanish, or you are like, I know Vanish not safe, but like mostly gets you out of certain scenarios. Or like RC, like, you know, in Strife, when you do a RC combo or you get out of a bad situation.
Yeah.
And you still can think about those stuff, but I think you're definitely right. There's a lot of punishment to your actions that they're wrongly done, instead of just like, hey, you can still do this and get away with it.
Yeah.
And I definitely capitalize on that. Behaviors, I enjoy that in this game. I was playing certain things, and if I could read a behavior, I knew it would happen, and it happens, and I will punish it, and it wouldn't be like in Dragon Ball. I know I can mention it. Oh, I know something's gonna happen. I'm gonna punish it correctly, and somehow the game just, nope, super dash behind you and hits you, you know? And here I will see like, oh, look, he's out of resource. I'm gonna hit him with this heavy, and I'm gonna juggle him, and I'm gonna do this combo, and it just felt nice. It felt great.
I think another thing that people are gonna be more and more conscious of is people's resources, because there'll be plenty of times where, let's say I'm out of resources, and
You're never out of resource in that game.
wow, the blinking red the big blinking red bar tells me otherwise.
Sometimes people still do moves like that. I still don't understand that part. Maybe you could use your gray bar to do it.
Maybe,
I don't know.
But
Please,
what I'm getting at is people aren't aware yet too of the situations that are more favorable to them. Like they can have full bar, and I can have no bar whatsoever to do anything, and they're not pressuring me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Those kind of things are still things that people have to keep in mind. And I was making myself keep that in mind this time around, going like, hey, wait, this guy can't do anything right now. Let me, at least I have less special moves to worry about instead of like just normals, because normals are pretty big in this game too. So
Yeah.
like
More than in Grand Blue, right? I would say. So in Grand Blue, you see them having a cooldown, right, on their special moves.
Yeah.
Because in Grand Blue, is by special moves, you get a cooldown, and people can cap. Oh, he don't have a DP. Let me go in. And here, you can use your resource for anything. So like you mentioned, knowing how much resource. Let's say if I know you have 1/4. Sorry for that. Sorry. If you have like 1/4 for your bar, and then maybe you can use that resource for DP or not. But if I know that your character uses more than that to do that, anti-air, then I should be more aware of that. I think that's gonna be really fun learning it, like you mentioned into that. I mean, it's a lot of fun stuff. I had a lot of fun with this beta. I played it for hours. I streamed for like 4 hours, I think, or 5.
dude, and it's funny too, because on the final day I was like, yo, you gonna play it one last time? I was like, I'm free to watch your stream if you want to stream, and you were like, all right, maybe for a little bit, and it's just fucking, you streamed for like 5 hours.
That's a little bit. That's a little bit.
Dude, you never stream for that long unless it's like you lose yourself in there and go, oh yeah, I'm still streaming.
But of course, like with some of the good stuff and some of the takes that we saw different, like always, there's always different opinions and different takes. And in this case was a 3 case, I think a topic came the most prominent, when I was researching, watching VODs, Twitters, and all that stuff. And one of the main things is people still, want to see a faster gameplay, want to see a faster movement speed. And it's funny because I was trying to sync into spectating a match, and the game looked like it was in turbo mode. And that's a point. I was like, is this what they want?
Yeah, that's what they want.
Because I can see nothing. But movement speed, right? Like movement speed, and it's the first one I would say, right? It's movement speed, defensive options, and how easy to master it is. But in terms of movement speed, I remember you mentioned that you wanted it to be faster. I remember you saying that. Do you still feel the same? Do you still feel?
What I feel now is, if it gets a little faster, it's fine. I don't think it changes the game that much if it gets a little faster, but I don't think it's necessary. I don't think it's necessary because of the specials, the type of specials you have, and the type of normals you have. Like, I get it. People just want to rush in there, and they feel like if they were faster, the outcome would change. Like if I were faster, the outcome would change. But
that's a good take.
I don't know. It just doesn't feel like it'll be that important to me. Like, maybe it's more of it feels better to be fast. You know what I mean? Like, maybe
it's better to mash.
Yeah, it feels better to run a certain amount of speed or something like that. But I don't know how much it would really change the gameplay when it comes to at least run speed or backdashing or.
Yeah, because the gameplay format would technically still be the same, right? Because it's not like you're moving faster and the normals are smaller, right? Or the special moves have less of a larger hitbox, right? You're just moving faster, so you're just getting faster to get hit. Like, and I get it. Like you mentioned, maybe it's that adrenaline that people want to just run faster, but they're not running like in Grand Blue. In Grand Blue, they run like, I'm gonna get there. You wait there, okay? But I'm gonna definitely run and get there. Like Grand Blue felt like you like, I'm there.
But I think like it was less. It was like the. It feels weird because I guess here's the thing. The game Grand Blue feels more grounded. So because the walk speed and the run speed feels more grounded, it feels like it's cohesive to the game. Maybe because these moves are cracked out, like everybody's kind of cracked out on having gigantic normals and specials. Maybe people are like, well, why can't I just run around and be as crazy as what I'm looking at on the screen?
I get it. So they get like a taste of like extreme, right?
Yeah.
And then they want everything to. I mean, that makes sense. Maybe once again it's us not understanding the whole gameplay cycle, right? The gameplay cycle of this game seems like people say more grounded based because obviously there's no air dash to some extent.
Yeah.
And how do you compensate that with big normals? So maybe they need to separate that, right? They need to separate that this is not the other game that you're comparing it in your head.
Yeah.
Whatever game it is that you think it is not. This is still DNF, right? And it looks anime and it looks like this. I think it's because it also looks anime, right? So people want to air dash and do these things. But or maybe Strife, which was the recent latest anime, right? Let's put it like that you can move like that and move. You move quite fast in Strife, right? What you saying?
Some characters do, yeah.
You move some.
It's hard to see some things sometimes.
Yeah, some characters are quite fast. But I don't know. For me, it doesn't feel much difference in there. Do I want this game to move faster? I don't care. I'm not trying to be rude or anything. It's just I really don't care. Like if it gets faster, then sure. If it stays the same, then I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
I'm totally okay with it because I feel like it was blending with it. You know, it was blending with the resources, like the dodging mechanics, moving you a certain distance, was really good, and I think allows the game to also have the thinking part of the game, right? So you're fighting and you're doing your rush and stuff like that, but because certain type of speed, it's not so in your face. It allows the character to digest certain information and assert how they're gonna approach or footsies or do like some spacing around the fight. Because of the type of speed, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't mean you cannot do it in the other one. It just feel based on the gameplay cycle here. For me, feel like the speed was good.
Speed was fine. I mean, if you want faster characters, there are faster characters.
I mean, yeah. Maybe they have a character that just teleports all day.
Yeah. Well,
and that's the thing.
What if
this
you're
character that teleports?
Yeah. What if you're a guy who only played grappler and are like, man, I don't know, the speed of the game.
Oh yes, so correct. I was about to say that Striker runs to corner, right, like nothing. But then you have someone like Crusader or Grappler that might walk slower and might be
And Vanguard definitely felt slower to me just because I wasn't used to it anymore. But Vanguard felt slower moving backwards and forwards because I stopped being used to him. He's one that I played a lot in the first beta, but to me it makes sense why he's slower. He's got everything about him is gigantic.
Yeah.
Why would I want him to just fucking always be at a easily spaced out from me,
And then a Grappler, right? So Grappler has to be in your face and do these things. But then he also has super armor to pass through whatever goes through. Not through everything, but to get to his advantage. I feel like the characters have tools to persevere what they need the gameplay to be.
And that's all the characters too.
Correct. And speed has nothing to do with that.
Yeah.
Like completely speed, if you take out speed out of the equation, the character's tools are designed, at least in this game, easy enough for you to understand what the gameplay aspect of what you want to do with this character is.
Yeah.
Like you mentioned, the guy Vanguard, right? He has a long spear. You know that the thing is to be poking people from far and you can hit them really hard and then the moves pushes them away.
Yeah.
So you can be in a better place. Grappler wants to get up close, wants to keep you close. And if he can't get up close, he has the super armor. He also has a block that does not take damage while blocking, so you can wait for your turn. It has tools for that. Imagine Grappler takes the most guard damage. That wouldn't make
It's
sense.
cool too because it feels like the two archetypes in fighting games, right? This is something that they're doing that's really smart. That tend to have the most one-sided matchups are grapplers and zoners, right? All the stuff you said about Grappler has really smart ways of kind of diluting all of the weaknesses that would make him have really, really bad matchups. And then you have a character like Ranger who has several moves that involve movement, whether it be sliding out of the way, jump flipping out of the corner to have all to have stage control again, and then he has basically the most full screen normals because he has bullets and he has one of the best DPs. And you giving a zoner a DP, get off me.
Yeah.
So
like if he didn't have the other three things that you mentioned.
Yeah. A usual game would be like, well, he already has these things, so let's take it away. Like Fairy, they took fairies away. They took a lot of stuff away from Fairy because they thought it was a little too strong for certain characters, but they decided, hey, a lot of the other characters have really strong stuff.
They do. I just think not only they're strong, they're smart to their kit. And once again, if you put that in consideration to the gameplay flow, maybe once again, I don't think movement might be the issue. It might be learning what your character is supposed to or how it's supposed to be doing, and then be like, well, I want to play him differently. Well, you can. It's just understand the kit of your character to be able to see how the gameplay flows into your character archetype, right? Because I couldn't, once again, if I played Dragon Knight, you didn't saw me playing it the same way I was playing Ghostblade. and you can tell it wasn't the same, right? Like I couldn't do just exactly the same. I could try, but it wouldn't be to the best benefit of each character to do something like that. I don't know. I think movement for me was great, especially to that. And then to defensive options, sorry, I hit the table. Defensive options was the second most talk about option here, because you couldn't do much. You can only do that reversal attack that costs a thing, a meter. There's no delay wake up. Apparently, there's no this reverse wake up. You could do that roll. And there's this DP, right? Most characters have an invincible option. Some of them are not invincible on the spot though, and they're baitable too. Like in Rangers, you do a EX move that is your anti-air. If you block it or you can dodge it, you know it's your turn, baby. You know it's time to party.
But here's the thing too. The only reason I think that it even started becoming something that people talked about was because of Twitter clips of people not being able to get out of block stun situations off of people using their conversion system, right? So people would have people in block stun. They convert their health or whatever so that they could continue keeping people in block stun or whatever. Yeah, that's what I meant to say. In block stun until their guard breaks and then they get a full combo and then they're practically dead, right? I think that's the one reason that has people going, well, maybe there's not enough defensive options. But yeah, it's like it feels like that's the only reason it came up, because before then, people were more so going like, well, you know, cross-ups aren't real and all this other stuff isn't real because there's a block button.
Well, I got cross-up. I'm not the best player in the world, but I'm knowledgeable enough.
Yeah, but
I got cross-up.
But there's all these people saying block button, right?
Yeah.
But how many of them? I don't hear any of them admitting themselves that they are using it. Yeah. You know, I don't hear them saying that they're using it. There's no way to tell if other people are using it. Mm-hmm. There's no block button being used indicator. Correct. And then there's like
a flash or something when you're using the block button or something.
And yeah, and then when it comes to the flow of how matches go, there isn't like a billion timeouts. You know, there isn't that issue. That's the only issue that it would come up that, all right, maybe the defense is too strong when we can't finish rounds. You know, there's none of that going on. People are getting clapped left and right.
Yeah, with special gigantic moves everywhere.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I think also maybe it's not a defensive option, but maybe / combat mechanic, you know, sparking, you know, pushing people away, burst pushing people away, combo breakers,
reflect. Like people are used to so many
of those defensive options, like just defense, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just defense option that only 5% of people use it, right? Only the super high tier use that just defense. He didn't in that one moment. You know, and it's super skillful, don't get me wrong, but does the average 90% of the player do it? You know, no, right? Let's be honest. And having a block button, it just gives me deja vu of Granblue. God bless Granblue, right? I can mention it so much in this game. He's the MVP of this podcast. But Granblue had a guard button, and they have a character like Lancelot that he teleports from left and right and up. And people are like, well, his block strings aren't real, so you can just block, use the block button and win. And he was the most dominant character in the beginning of the game.
Yeah, he's been
flat out
one of the most consistent dominant characters, and they've nerfed him several times, and he's still super strong.
Mm-hmm. So
and nobody's saying like, well, good, thank God we have a block button, because if we didn't, we'd have to just ban the character.
Yeah, it would be Android Lab Code 21. Yeah, I just think that, yeah, it does, in paper it does make sense, but in gameplay wise, as you really take a human being grabbing the controller and playing the game, those are really rare occasion that happens. And if it benefits someone to use the guard button because they're not used to pressing a direction to block, or it's difficult for them to block, like you mentioned, optimize gameplay, right? Optimize fighting game, then you have a tool that allows you to do that without changing anything in the gameplay itself, right? I think that's optimized. I think that's great. I don't think it hinders anything. Can the game have more defensive options? Let me see. Maybe a delay wake up, I would say. To be honest, delay wake up would be great. Why? Because just to change the momentum. Sometimes this game is very momentum based, and maybe you want to just change that momentum.
Yeah, because I could see stuff like maybe one example would be like Berserker doing his like that special move where he crashes down and there's all this block stun he gives you to keep him like at advantage. Maybe you could delay wake up that and it ends up whiffing or something.
Or you're in a better situation at the end part of it or something. Yeah, I think, or maybe like you mentioned, Ranger is shooting and maybe he threw the thing that keeps you there. Maybe you delaying that a little bit more, so then you have to deal with it a little bit less.
Yeah.
Delay wake up sounds good. Since they already have regular wake up, they have roll wake up, and then delay wake up.
If there's not a way where what's that move called where you, what is it like when you get somebody off you in this game? What is it called in this game? Guard what? It's a
Let's call it alpha counter.
Yeah, like the alpha counter for this game or whatever.
This is not safe.
If the whole let's say bring the example the wheel, Inquisitor's wheel. If it does become an issue where she's just pumping wheels out and you can't get out of it and they can't figure out a smart way to go. All right, though, this is your option to not be stuck in this situation. Like, I would not want Inquisitor to be
nerf.
Nerf or have any changes, but maybe just give the alpha counter the ability to negate a special move.
But they do. An example, if you do the wheel, you see, it's smart though. If you do the wheel and you're pressuring me and hitting me, right? The moment that you touch, like you hit me, like I block.
Yeah.
And I alpha counter you, that counter thing. If I hit you with the following attack, it takes away your thing.
Okay, so what I'm watching, I didn't see that. So basically what I'm watching is people need to get better. That's it.
Correct. No, now if I space it and I don't attack you and I hit it and then you do that and you whiff, you're gonna get hit.
Okay. There you go. So there's counterplay technically.
Yeah. Could it be stronger? Yeah, I think it could be buffed. I think it can definitely be buffed. Maybe it uses less meter so you can do it more often, right?
Yeah.
Or something like that, you know. Maybe it gives you when you do that, you gain more meter, so then you can fight back. You get me?
Yeah.
So because you use a resource, if you connect it, then your resource goes up faster. That's cool. You know, and that's just keeping the gameplay flow there instead of keeping it stagnant.
Yeah.
At least for that, it's the only thing I see. More defensive option. I don't know. Do you want a combat mechanic in this game? I think it kind of has it already.
I think here's my take. If combat mechanics or fighting game mechanics are added to the game, I think they should be after a certain amount of time of the game being outplayed and tested, tried and true by everybody that decides to keep playing the game. Like after the first 3 to 6 months, assessing what the game could need, or after all, those people that look at all the hundreds of matches that people have and go, you know what, we don't like that this happens, or we don't like that this happens. Let's figure out how we make that happen less. I don't think right now, just because certain people like certain things, because it's not like everybody has data off of previous fighting games that they're putting onto this game that they're trying to make into the fighting games they like, and not into, and take it away from, taking it a little bit away from the fighting game it's trying to be. That's what I feel like is happening.
Dude, you can't be saying smart stuff like that.
Yeah, man.
You can't be saying smart stuff like that, because then it's confusing, okay? It makes too much sense.
Yeah, I had to re-explain it myself. I understand. It's strange.
You did. I definitely agree. I think, and then again, brand new game, right? Brand new game, like you mentioned. It's so much. This just in the baby phase of the game. So
yeah, as much as people think they figured out the thing already.
That's where I want to go for. You took my transition away, sir.
Sorry.
And then one of the things that they have is the third one is the easy to master game. This game is easy to figure out, is what they mentioned. This game, I already know what to do between an hour of gameplay, and it gets repetitive, it gets boring. It goes as far as saying, I know everything about what the character can do. I think that's completely BS. Like to the utmost part. Completely BS. Unless this is like a developer that is talking about this, it's the only way I can think of.
Yeah.
Characters that I played before in the previous beta, I still learned something on this beta.
Yeah.
New. Completely new. I learned new loops with Striker, with the Punch Girl, right? I actually like, I like to call it the Dragon Girl. I learned how to do some of the moves. I was like, oh, it's like my Dragon evolved now. Like I can actually do a different gameplay. I was learning a complete new character, Ghostblade, and even though he was new during my playthrough, I discovered new things on how to do and how to combine certain things, how they link with each other, and that was so cool. And this was hours and hours in, and I'm not a slow learner. I definitely, once again, I'm not the best, but I can definitely catch up things quite quickly in how they're supposed to work. And the tools in this game, once again, they're so, I don't know, cool. Like they all flow and everything. If you can think about it, kind of like Rangers, you can make it happen. I remember when you were like, oh, but I cannot do this. Like, try it, do it, and then boom, you did it, right? Like,
that happened several times where I'm just like, but then like some people don't have that outside those eyes looking in from the outside going, oh, well, I'm looking at what you're doing. What about doing this?
Yeah.
Yeah, you need like the multiple brains there going like, well, I don't know. And then they stay with that opinion that like, well, if I didn't figure something out, I feel like I'm smart.
Yeah.
There must be nothing else that can be done or can be learned or can be
like they hit a cap. Didn't they say the same thing with Strife?
Yeah, in the beginning, people are hundreds of thousands of people still playing this game,
figuring shit out,
new things out. The
new options.
They're still playing games competitively weekly. Like it's not dead. It's one of the more popular fighting games out there to play, and it's. I know people get bored, right? So if it was really that boring of a game, it can't be just because of the netcode that people are still playing the game. Because you're suffering through a shitty lobby as well.
Yeah, I mean, this game doesn't have a good lobby either.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, but definitely the easy to master. I would say that people, maybe they're watching these YouTube or Twitter videos of maybe at 2 hours, 3 hours in, and they do it and it works, and they close their option to just that. You hear me? They don't want to explore more. They don't want to see more. They don't want. It works. I want to win. I remember you telling me I wasn't even focused on winning. I was just trying to press buttons and just play the game. While other people wanted to get the W. They wanted to get the W on a freaking beta, bro. Like, I didn't care how many times I lost or what. I mean, if I won, it was cool. But I wanted to win learning something,
Yeah.
I remember having a really tough match in a game versus Kunoichi, and as the battle was progressing, I was learning certain things about not only her fighting her, but also my character and how to counter this thing. How to certain things I was like, yo, this is unbeatable. I remember she keep beating me air to air, and I was like, hey, let me try this jumping light to heavy to special, and it worked. And I was like, oh, now I can counter this thing. Yeah. And I could have been like, nah, that's it, it's done. I don't have no reversal. Remember in the beginning, she was destroying me in Blockstone. I was in Blockstone forever. I was like, bro, I can't do nothing. I'm just there, and I had to figure it out. And then once I figured out, the battle started shifting my way. Yeah, I think people need to maybe detach a little bit more from what these combo videos and stuff are on, and try to learn it from yourself. Does it help as an entry level to know maybe an idea what your character can do? Yeah, but don't do one combo and drop it twice and then be like, yeah, that's all my character can do, and then be like, yeah, that's all or maybe I can do it because I'm getting outplayed, and maybe that's the only option this character has. I never felt like that in this game.
And I remember, I don't want to say who it was or whatever, I randomly came across a review for this game, a type of impression for this game, and I showed it to you because I wanted you to see when this person shot themselves on the foot on how they felt about the game, because they were saying all these things about the game, but then they kind of contradict themselves. They completely contradict themselves by saying something that was totally different. That just goes like, okay, well, dude, isn't it obvious to you that you're feeling this way because you have this outlook on how you want to play the game, but then are saying the game doesn't have this, that, and the other, but you're limiting yourself on what you're learning for the game. I don't want to get into details and any of that stuff, but it's like one of those, like, come on, dude, like there needs to be like a certain self-awareness on
there's
things
a lot of
if you're gonna make videos or critique games or stuff like that.
But you know what is confusing to me, and I think this is like a deja vu story, right? Strife, of course, being the latest. People say it's easy to master, right? What about Street Fighter 5, right? Street Fighter 5 was easy to master, easy to entry level, right? To know what you're doing. 5 years later, and people are still doing, even with the newer sub. As a matter of fact, even before the new update, people still learning things, doing certain things, figuring stuff out, you know. And I know this not game, it doesn't compare to Street Fighter, but I'm saying Street Fighter 5 was the quote unquote the easier to play, right? The easier to just do the gameplay flow, right?
Mm-hmm.
And people are still discovering things, right? And it's because the tools that it has. This game has so much tools, and the fact that your special meter is at your own doing. You're not limited on what can you do in your special meter, only to the amount of how much special meter you have, right? You can spam the same move, right? Sometimes you can do the move twice in succession about the same ability, you know, in combo in some characters. I just think this game definitely has the flexibility to be able to do more customization in how you want to play it in terms of combos or approaches, but it doesn't hold your hand and tells you, hey, this is what you need to do. You get me? An example, and this is gonna sound maybe bad for some people. And King of Fighters, the latest King of Fighters, in order to do most high-end combos or the more advanced combos, you have to go into a mode that you spend either 2 meters or 3 meters, right? And that allows you to link more moves, because you have like unlimited meter onto that time, right? And then it allows you to do like a rush down to follow up on things that you cannot normally do. Your character moves forward on top of that, right? So it's an indicator. The gameplay gives you an indicator that while this is happening, this is your time to go. This is your time to continue to do X, Y, or Z. Like if I do a punch, I turn max mode, my character moves forward. That's telling me as a cue that I need to attack or do something or etc. In this game, it's up to you to figure what combos with what, and then figure out how can you keep linking those other moves as much as resource as you have.
Yeah.
So I think it's less hand holding, but it's not limited at all. I remember with Ghostplay, I was like, during the combo, I was like, what about if I keep doing this and do this? And then I could do a loop with some of his off the ground hits, and then jump and hit and bring him down and do it again. And then I was like, hey, how about if I do super in this? Boom, hit him with a super through that. You know, it's like the game does not tell me, hey, this is where you need to stop, but it's up to me to figure that out.
Yeah.
Once again, it's like the other games that are a little bit more hand-holding. It will tell you, this is your time to go. Like in Street Fighter 5, if you hit him with a crush count in the count, like it says crush counter, and then you're like, okay, so this is my time to go. Or in Strife, counter, right? And oh, okay, so this is my time to go in and do these things. And here you have to figure out what combos into what and manage your resources. At least that's how I feel.
I think it's a mechanic that comes close to being your limit is yourself. You're your own.
Tell him.
The mechanic itself isn't what's limiting. It's like you're what limits yourself, and that comes real close to that kind of outlook on a mechanic. And I think that's, I said it before, this game's gonna thrive on that mechanic alone in this game, and it feels like even more so that's what's happening after this last beta.
Yeah, and I just to conclude on the AC2 Master, I remember in that last day of streaming that I streamed for God knows how many hours, I tuned in some streaming, I was like, bro, I want you to see the crazy stuff these people are doing. I feel like I thought I was doing something. These people are doing way beyond of what I was doing, you know, even with Strike and stuff. I was like, yo, and then it kind of got me, man, because of how I was like, why I didn't thought about doing that? Like, why did I limit myself instead of doing this? And it's exciting for me because it makes me think like, where I'm gonna learn this thing, you know. But we know this game's not gonna have training mode, so we're not gonna be able to learn. We're only gonna learn as we go and put the quarter in the machine. But yeah, and then, you know, that just makes me optimistic for what is gonna be next for this game, right? Like, what do you feel like where this game is gonna go, or how it's gonna be taken? Do you feel like this game might need some types of gameplay changes or overall changes that you think to complete at least the final release of the game?
Where I think this game will have like the most impact that this game could have on release, where people aren't even talking about it. They're not going to talk about it. They're not even going to really like, it's not going to be at the forefront of what people think that would impact the game. It's how easy it is to pair up with people online, because right now the lobby system itself is not something that is something people would want to deal with. But I think if they're hiding a lot of the game, because right now what people are seeing is what we've seen through the beta, but we don't know any single player content, any arcade, survival, all the the extra modes. We don't know how a training mode is going to be, what options the training modes are going to have. Is it going to have our hitboxes, her boxes? Is it going to have frame data? All the other stuff, all that stuff that keeps the content creators that a lot of people look for in terms of
but it's the norm.
The information is there. Yeah, like is this game worth it now to get? All these other little things like can you match up from a training and not have to deal with lobbies or rooms or anything like that? And, like all these other things that are like, just make it a easier, less stressful way of playing. You don't have to worry about finding matches for yourself and have a game find them for you, like type of thing. Like all these like little quality of life for the player, not just like, oh, there's a season pass. There's a season pass too, like all the regular stuff. That all the other games have been doing. Because I think it's not going to be anything that's it's been developed for a little while, so I think it's going to have older practices. It's not going to have anything new going on, other than like they just probably caught that you need good netcode, and they have it. They have really good netcode. It feels great.
It's good.
Because I don't know why I was pairing up so well with people from Europe and Asia and all that stuff compared to
5 bars
other people. Yeah, but I just worry, like all these other little things need to be good. Like, is it because it's Arxis, right? So you're worried about the lobbies being as bad as, let's say, Grand Blue.
That's so bad, dude.
Or Guilty Gear. Like all these games that are still good, they have these negative points about them that might make people go, do I want to deal with that?
Yeah.
Instead of just going, I feel like playing this game and there's nothing that's gonna annoy me that's outside of the actual matches before I get to the matches that's gonna hinder me from wanting to go, do I play this today or not? Do I stream this today or not?
Yes. The answer is yes. Yes, you want to play.
Because I think for the most part, I'm not worried about who's gonna be a DLC or what. They're all fucking awesome looking. They're all the characters are awesome looking. Like right now, we got the base characters of all the classes or whatever in the game, and it looks like they're gonna do those first, for the most part, right?
Yeah.
And those are the least coolest looking ones.
That's crazy.
And that's insane. And you're just building up to more cooler looking characters. Whether how they play, I don't know how they're gonna play, but they at least look cool.
But they give us a taste.
When people see the trailers, they're gonna be like, "Holy shit, they look sick."
Yeah, I mean, there has never been a character that you don't see. Even though the trailers might not be as great, but there's never been a character trailer you'd be like, "Nah, he looks whack." Nah, there's never been.
Yeah, I don't think that's gonna happen with how crazy the moves are in that game in Dungeon Fighter Online. I don't think, at least when you see it in the form of a trailer that would get people's eyes on it, people will go, "Oh, that was kind of lackluster." That's not gonna happen.
Like a Dark Souls magic spell. Pew.
Like pew, yeah, it's effective, but it just looks like a little, like Gandalf did it in Lord of the Rings. Not like Strange is doing it in a Marvel movie. But that's what I'm worried about. I'm worried about more of the long-term functionality. Like a lot of people are worried about long-term gameplay, like honeymoon phase, quote-unquote stuff. What I'm worried about is long-term functionality and how it matches up with all the other fighting games that are competing against each other right now to keep an audience.
You definitely hit on the nail. I think they could have done two things right. If they do it right with this game and it sells well, then they know that, hey, maybe we should do more of this. More of this, better. Like you mentioned, I know the online lobby is gonna be the same. I get it, but if it would have changed that lobby, sorry, my dog is walking around. If they would have changed that lobby to something else, and they see how successful it is, that should have been maybe the new norm for Bandai Namco or Arc System. I think also that the old practices that you mentioned that they have implemented in previous games is too in their face in this game. Like even when we went to character edit, like the profile edit and stuff like that, it felt like I was editing my Melty Blood character list. Actually, I think Melty Blood have more because in Melty Blood you can mix and match words and character portraits have multiple versions of them. I mean, this is a beta, of course. Maybe they were gonna bombard us on release, or later on, but it still feels very bare bones. It's cool that it's there. I like that customization, but it feels very minimum. It feels almost like if it's not the focus, but they're still doing it there to fill up certain checkboxes. You get me? And I don't like that in a fighting game when certain things are there to fill a checkbox instead of having the passion behind it and be like, we did this because of this, and look how cool this interacts with this, and everything is in unison. And it'll be a shame in such a rich world like Dungeon Fighters Online that has so many nerdy things that people probably would love to see, even little titles or something that they know, right? Can be implemented here, or even events, right? Different holidays events can be implemented with better cards, better avatars, like in Dragon Ball and stuff like that. I just want them to not be lazy when it comes to the extra part other than the fighting game, because the presentation matters, man. We've seen that presentation definitely carries a lot. And if you want people to keep going back to your game, then you need to have a presentation that attracts people for more than just the core of it, right? Because to get to the core of the game, how many times do you have to press that button, right?
Yeah.
When you press that game. So I want them that before they press that button, that everything looks so pretty and everything looks so nice and it works so nice that by the time that you press that button, you're already inside it. You really want to go on.
Yeah, because it makes me feel like in this game, like just because we're so used to ArcSys games, I feel like I'm not getting my hopes up over certain things. Like let's say something as simple as getting extra color skins. Like it's ArcSys, Yeah. Like are we gonna get? It should not. Yeah, it shouldn't be, but it's been something that history has told us that for them it's a little difficult to do, or to get a lot of out there.
I doubt that. I completely doubt that it's difficult to do, given how easier modders community have done that.
Yeah.
And just color, not even changing anything, just colors.
Yeah, just colors.
And this game at least has a healthy amount of colors in the beginning. I think kind of like Grand Blue too in terms of colors, but.
No, Grand Blue had more.
In the beginning?
Yeah. Grand Blue has more, and they had more, like, even with the avatars, like, this thing, like, in this game, you could do, like, 3 or 4 actions. In Grand Blue, you do, like, 15 different actions for the avatars.
Right.
So, like, maybe they, like you said, those checkboxes. We need little avatars, but maybe they were like, all right, but we'll do those, but we don't want to spend too much time on that because we're focused on the more important stuff. I hope it's because of that, and not because they don't have the resources. I just hope that they were laser focused on the more important stuff. You know what I mean?
Or running short on development time or something like that. I mean, it would be cool if there was a little bit more transparent with that. In terms of not in a community guideline like how they did with Strife, but at least in more like, hey, there's more to come. Instead of I don't want people to think like this is it. You know. So I mean, I'm hoping that it's so cool that how King of Fighters, the last one, has so many options when you scroll down, and it's so cool that it has all those stuff down. I hope that this game has that, even if it's just stuff like lore or stuff like that, pictures from DFO, or I don't know, maybe the main menu has stuff like that makes you want to see more of the game. I don't know, I want more. I don't want to see just a picture of a character and then my things on the side. It doesn't seem appealing, it doesn't seem modernized. But that's my take. That's what I'm hoping to see more on the game, so it doesn't feel like a checkbox actions anymore. Like they actually have the same passion they put in the fighting game version of it. They put it also in the options in the presentation. It's like a portfolio, man. That cover has to look good. It cannot just be inside.
And one thing that'll really go a long way that I recently did like a compilation of the trailers for the Grand Blue ones, and I remember the Japanese like specific ones, the ones that weren't like geared towards like the rest of the world, like they showed a lot of what they explained, all the single player stuff, like, hey, here's the story, here's what you do, here's like more or less what you'll be looking at, and there's a lot in there. There's just so much in there, and right now DNF doesn't have any of that for people that only like that aspect of fighting games to go, yeah, I'm gonna get that because this is this kind of stuff that I like for the fighting game. So hopefully we get information on that sometime soon.
That's true, right? There's a lot of Grand Blue players that just played it because the Grand Blue mobile game.
Yeah, and this is the same thing. This is like, all right, they made the directional inputs a thing, probably because there's such a large DFO community that doesn't play fighting games, and it'll be easier for them to just kind of get indoctrinated into it. and now there's this, but where's the aspect that kind of connects as much as possible the DFO gameplay to this?
Yeah.
And it will be through story / RPG mode / whatever they're going to call it, if they have it. And if not, then it even more so, let's say there's barely any difference than what we have now in this beta and release. Then it just feels a lot more like an indie title that had a little bit more money put into it.
Like if someone, a side project instead of a main source with all this popularity. You're right.
But we'll see. I mean, regardless, the game is fun enough for me to not care about the other stuff and just care about like playing the game.
Yeah, me too. I'm excited to see the new characters. I'm excited to see how they're gonna transition to these awakening characters. I want to see how the character selection screen is gonna expand. You know, if maybe they're gonna switch it up when you get different characters. You know how cool it would be that, let's say you go to Berserker and then you click and you pick the awakening version of your Berserker. So it could be Ghostblade or regular Berserker. That would be so cool.
Yeah.
Those are things that once again reflects the game, right? The original game, and I think that would be really cool seeing it here. The music, I wanted to put more music because the music is awesome, and I think I showed you today that character selection music.
Yeah.
From the DFO. If they have a chance to put that one there, that would be so awesome.
Yeah,
man.
that's another thing. Like, there's an entire game that has music in it. Hopefully, the music is cool, but hopefully for those people coming back and for the sake of having variety, we get all that stuff in there in some way, shape, or form.
Yes. Please, if you're listening, please.
Whether the music is good or bad is up to the people, but at least you get more variety of it if you get a lot more music, because there's still the same amount of music in this beta and then from the last beta that's getting shown.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt. More music does not hurt. More colors, more music does not hurt. Please. That's what I'm looking for. But I'm excited to play. It's coming really soon, and I can't wait for it. We're definitely gonna cover it. We're definitely gonna show some matches on my stream. I don't know. Let's see. Maybe for a little bit.
What do you think about the Ghostblade himself as a character?
I think it's amazing. I mean, every time I played it, I have my DMC3 theme song in the back all the time. I could not pick him without picking that music. I think it was incredible. I think it made me even move away from one of the characters I like the most, which was Hitman. I just feel great. So my phone was like, oh, it's gonna be another Hitman. It's not at all. It's just plays so different. Because
it's just like the animations of the slashes look similar, but once you get into playing with him, you definitely feel...
It's like a puppet, not puppet character.
Yeah.
It's so cool. Oh.
Yeah, and then when you start noticing there's little things you could do that are a little extra for what the character does. Like, let's say when you just throw the ghost out, right? And then you're the one that told me this, and when you press the button again, you appear where the ghost last was.
Correct.
Like right before it goes away. Like stuff like that is what I like in character design, where they just give you a little bit more.
There's nothing to learn.
But there's nothing to learn. You know, but yeah, like I didn't think I'd play him as much either. I was just like, all right, I'll try him out, and then I'll go to the characters I like. I ended up just playing him the whole weekend. It was really fun. Because you know, I like this game is the closest catered to me in a while, because there's big buttons. I love big buttons. I love neutral as opposed to focusing on like set play or yeah, and he definitely controlled a lot of that very well.
And he looks cool doing it.
And he looks insanely cool doing it.
Every button that you hit, it just has weight, and you feel cool landing it, and it just gives you this endorphin of like when you connect them, and it looks super samurai, and it's just, he don't have a Mortal Kombat crouching hit, like, you know, he everything he does looks so stylish. Yeah, like, remember when you were looking for his crouching heavy attack, or like, which one is it? Yeah. And you're like, yeah, that's one. You know, it's just so cool.
Yeah, and it's and you can say that about most of the characters' kits in this game, where it's just like everything feels so good to land or hit or do or press a button on, and that's a good thing.
It's an incredible thing.
What do you think about character strengths right now from here to release?
Character strengths?
Yeah, like an impression, like not a real tier list, but just like an impression on like where
easy picks would be Berserker, Ranger, Striker. I think will be the first, the easier picks that people will most likely pick. With the taste of Kunoichi putting in there for a little bit more kind of advanced characters. But I feel like Rangers, even in the hands of someone that might not be as well versed, the things that he does are so wide and so takes so much range. Ranger. That they definitely feel strong. Striker, you can she's so fast that attacking really fast can be very overwhelming sometimes.
Yeah, and people won't. You're gonna need knowledge checks for her on her frame traps and all that stuff because there's plenty of times
When does
I'm
it
like,
end?
yeah, you're like, okay, I think she's done. Oh no, I'm getting hit in the face.
No, she's not. She's never done. And she don't do incredible amount of damage, but she can definitely hurt when she gets you a couple of times with those, over and over bad guesses, right?
Yeah.
And Berserker feels is so good, right? Like his range, his attack, his toolkit. Even if you're not maximizing his toolkit, we're using the double sword thing that takes his health away, but then you can regain it.
Yeah.
Even without that, bare bones he has a great projectile. I think he feels really strong.
Yeah,
he has
great
lingering,
buttons.
lingering moves that stay
yeah.
there. A good trade. So when you trade with him, but most of the time it seems like he wins.
Yeah, for me, I definitely feel that because for me, I came across a lot of him this time around.
His sweep is really far, which is great because people don't seem to block in this game on the bottom. And then what else?
I mean, even though he doesn't look like the protagonist, I think the game feels like it was like, you know how you have the character. All right, the game is built around Ryu, blah blah blah, and everybody else is around him. He comes the closest to that for me.
He does. I agree. I think in face will be the Ranger, but in gameplay will be him.
Yeah.
In gameplay him, but in face, like for protagonist / hero in this maybe game will be the Ranger. I think so. I kind of think if it gives me that vibe.
Yeah.
And that's not taken away from the others, right? Like the Crusader still looks strong. Kunoichi feels like very overwhelming.
Yeah, Crusader still feels like he's messed up. I think people are finding more ways to abuse his armor, but I still feel like Crusader is slow enough and has these little moments where he has these weaknesses where I think like just over time, almost like if he's a grappler, over time it's not going to be as strong. But I think he's still ridiculous. Konoichi, like you said, she's really oppressive at times. Hard to like, you blink and you might not see what she's doing or miss a setup or just not be aware that there's a bomb on your body and get
and the fire tornado.
Yeah.
I think that
the mini wheel.
Yeah, the fire tornado. I think
the fire tornado is something that the Inquisitor's wheel farted out.
Fire tornado is better than the wheel, and people are not talking about the fire tornado.
Hey man,
I'm just saying.
I mean, hey,
it goes full screen.
Yeah, she's fucked up. I know. I know she's fucked up. She feels fucked up. Like when I'm fighting against her, I haven't touched that character. That's one of your characters, but she feels fucked up.
She was really fun to play.
You want movement? She has movement.
Yeah, she has movement and she has customization when it comes to how to do certain combos. It doesn't have to follow that same route because of the uniqueness of how her moves have like a separate part of it, right? Like they burn you and then you have to now worry about that and stuff like that. I think that was really cool. I think the least, to be honest, and I think I said that to you earlier, was Vanguard. And I saw just a YouTuber earlier, I think you know about him, and he was doing some really awesome stuff with him. And I was like, man, it makes me want to play him.
So now, do you change your mind about him being one of the weakest right now?
Vanguard?
Yeah, the video.
No, I think he's the reason I think that he's the weakest is because the people that are playing this game earlier are not thinking of the dangers that they're in. So it's hard to fight like a zombie or something like that. You get me?
Yeah. What about Dragonite? I think characters like Inquisitor and Dragonite are gonna go at that same like level of being top the longer the game goes on.
Dragonite for sure will be among the tops. I don't think she's the best. She's
no,
strong,
but I think she'll be like.
She definitely will be in the
she'll
the
be,
big three heroes. She will be there.
I think she'll be one of those like, if there's a specialist in her, like for her, like there's those people that just only play one character and it's that character and they're dedicated to that
character. Her kit is so good, but then again, it's not invincible, right? You can like if you're the ranger, you can shoot the dragon, right? Pop!
Yeah.
Like, you cannot do nothing. But it doesn't mean once again that solution overcomes all her things. It's just she's not invincible, obviously.
Yeah.
But there's so many room for creativity with that character.
Dude, her she has a fucking. When I saw she had an instant overhead convert just based off of doing convergence, I was like, okay, that's messed up.
Yeah. And the dragon, you cannot forget that all of that's happening, the dragon can follow up at any moment.
And his asshole autocorrects.
Yeah, to some stuff, But I like that also that
the dragon is not, oh, you can only do it from sweep, or you can only do it from your heavy. You get me? You can do it from any button that you're doing. I think that's really cool. Hitman, to be honest, feel the most, how can I say, not grounded, but more like that you can tell what he wanted to do, right? You just throw these big normals and B+. I couldn't have a chance to be creative with him because I couldn't figure out how to be creative with him.
Yeah.
Right? Because he does a lot of damage. He does a lot of damage. So by the time that I'm trying to be, you thinking that those little shoots and hits, those things hurt. And by the time that I figure out what to do or something, maybe the character was dead. So I didn't have much time for him. Grappler feels really strong. Grapplers are, as the name, grapplers are always strong. They're in the beginning. Even in a game like this that is very like big buttons and stuff like that, he also has big buttons. In the first beta, I played grappler a lot, and I was destroying people.
Yeah, I think he's one of the more momentum-based characters in the game.
It seems the easier character to play too. I'm gonna be honest.
I don't know about that. I think a lot of people. I think
not in terms of gameplay wise. In terms of like you do a button and he does this thing.
Yeah.
So you either grab or you do super armor stuff.
Yeah.
You get me? It's not like what else. It doesn't have like an intricate tool in terms of like, hey, you do super armor and then you maximize that super armor and use it in your punches or not. No, he just has a tool that it just works. It's either super armor or grab.
He has deceptively good buttons too.
Yeah, long.
Like, nobody's talking about his buttons, but his buttons are really nice.
And
I think
that attack you, that pull you.
I think with him, like you say, is like easier to grasp, I guess, for easier players. But I think people's opinion of him are gonna go up and down because like maybe they're not experienced grappler players.
Or patient.
Talking about him, or patient. But let's say like you get a long-standing like grappler specialist or whatever playing him. I think he has everything you need. I think that character just has everything a grappler player will want.
His tool? He super pulls you.
Yeah.
Like what? And it's frame 1. That shit it pulls you. And of course, not invincible, but it's great. It fits his kit. I did have a harder time playing him this time around because I forgot a little bit how to play it, and because this game is not easy to just do stuff. So I had a harder time playing him. But I remember the last time of the beta, I played him the most at the end of it, and I was having so much fun with him.
Yeah.
Even with the hardest matchup, it just feels like so cool.
So who would you say is the top 5?
Ranger, Striker. I don't know about Ghostblade yet because Ghostblade is a new toy and he feels very strong. But
I could see him not being there. Like he's one of those like I could see people putting him on top and not putting him on top and being like, okay, their experiences probably so far have led them there and it's fine.
Yeah, but you definitely gonna have a Striker and Berserker there. There's no way you cannot have a Striker.
Yeah.
Sorry for the motorcycle outside.
So Ranger definitely feels strong for me
Ranger,
too. I agree.
Striker, those 3 things.
I agree with those top 3. Are they? You think they're separated from the rest, or there's people like in there?
I just feel like the whole kit works for them all the time.
Okay.
Like I don't think there's a time in that kit that it doesn't work. Even for Striker, when she can get in, her dash special has invincibility. So it's for her to get in.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
This is what she wants to do. Here's a strong option for what we want her to do. So
correct.
Use
those
it.
3 things I feel like is gonna be the most dominant in the beginning, and then maybe follow up by Kunoichi, and then it's either Hitman or Crusader. Dude.
Hitman, really? I think Crusader's still up there.
Crusader's up there, but Hitman because
I think
his buttons are so wide. They're so gigantic.
I think wherever Hitman is, I think this dude is too. Ghostblade.
Yeah. Feels. Yeah.
I think honestly, I feel like for the most part, all the rest are like almost in the same place.
Yeah, Grappler, Vanguard, right? Dragon Girl. I don't know if it's in the same style.
Yeah, I would think her too. Yeah, she's more difficult, but I think she's still strong enough.
Yeah.
I think like the rest of them is like the top 3, and then most of the rest of them are probably in the same, more or less the same spot. Not enough to like switch it around. 4 right now, and then maybe if you want to do one extra separate, like like B tier or whatever the fuck. Maybe it would be like who you mentioned, like maybe Vanguard just barely under, and then honestly, Grapplers could be there too for me.
He could. Well, I mean, we don't know yet, but
we don't know. No, nobody knows, right? But I think
yet.
for right now, I think maybe he could be. But for the most part, everybody feels pretty equal in terms of like strength, power, and like being able to deal with the other people. I don't know how the matchups are going to be in the future, how tough they're going to be, because it feels like for the most part they should have an option to kind of deal with those to a point where you're not getting like this is a 7-3 or 8-2 matchup, you know.
Yeah, like for me, even Ghostblade, I felt like, hey, I think I have a better chance with Ghostblade, right? But then again, there are certain times that because of his reversal options might not have been the best. I feel like, hey, Berserker might have been better, or Kunoichi might have been better in this case, you know. So once again, that flexibility is the beauty of it, that you mentioned, that the kits for everyone feels like it's strong. Yeah, someone may be stronger than others for sure.
Yeah.
Kunoichi feels busted too, so she's just
she's when you come across somebody who knows what they're doing with that character for right now, like that's more advanced, it just feels like, oh shit, what do I do?
Yeah.
Like, how do I get through this? Like, you gotta like really think about how to manipulate the other person on fucking up, not just being like, how do I get through this character, but the guy has to fuck up. How do I make the guy fuck up?
Slip up. I throw a banana peel on the floor.
Yeah, how do I make that happen? Because this character is messed up.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, but I think definitely.
Is there anybody we didn't mention?
Inquisitor, Vanguard. Not that
Inquisitor. Technically, we didn't talk about Inquisitor. Inquisitor, I think.
I don't know where to put her.
I think she could be in the Vanguard part, to be honestly.
Vanguard, Grappler, Inquisitor.
Yeah, because I think it is. With what they get, I think she just has to work a little harder regardless to get to where she wins.
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
And she has good stuff that keeps you away, but then again, it takes a lot of resource for her to do that.
Yeah.
Like the wheel takes a lot of resource. I think her DP too takes a lot of resource. The counter thing she does.
Yeah.
I think it takes a big chunk.
So like it's like she has stuff like everybody else has. It's one of those cases where it's just like, yeah, but these guys are just kind of better.
Yeah, for now, absolutely.
Yeah.
Those are the people feel like
so
the range is ridiculous.
Yeah. So I think it's just for her. I think it's one of those like when people figure out how to amplify her like her positives over her negatives, and I think she might get a little higher. But I think those maybe, but it's like barely. I still feel like they're all viable, even in tournament. Like people will put like all these tier lists and be like, "It's S plus."
Everyone is
S minus S plus minus so equal. Like but then like they'll never play whoever's in the third line of S. But there'll still be like SS plus that tier. Like their whole team's there.
Probably because it's a bad
characters are there.
Or something like that.
But either way, there's still a separation. There's still like ABC. Like I still treat those like, all right, this is A B C D E,
and that's it. Yeah, because now everyone can be SS minus. Like what is that?
Whether
he's broken, but like not super.
No,
broken.
but he's definitely still really, really good. But why isn't anybody picking him? No, but he's like super good. Why isn't anybody picking them?
Yep. Absolutely. Like
there's a reason. Yeah, there's a reason. There's still a reason. On paper is different than in a match.
Everything.
What else we got to talk about? Is that it?
Yeah, I think with that concludes our DNF beta number 2.
Yeah. Overall, what are you how are you feeling about the game overall?
I'm feeling super excited. I can't wait to play it. Definitely. I want to see more, and obviously I'm not trying to put my super expectation high to not be that disappointed if they don't deliver, but in terms of gameplay, I'm satisfied. I want to play more, way more.
Yeah, and it's funny because like at minimum I'm thinking, well, if the gameplay is good, I'm still gonna play it, but at minimum, like the other fighting games, that's all you should really look into being optimistic about, because the rest of they all have their flaws,
Yeah, some of them are very flat out in your face.
Yeah,
some of them take 5 years for them to realize.
But like the more important flaws are in the matches, and right now I'm having some of the most fun I've had in matches without like without me blaming the game for anything. And maybe it's, but I like games where I feel like people get punished for their mistakes.
Yes.
And as long as this game feels like that, more so than feels like, oh, you fucking guy, you're lucky this game lets you get away with that. and then I start screaming at clouds, like an old man screaming at clouds. Like, as long as I feel like the game's not hand holding people to feel like they're good, and it feels like more that I'm the reason I'm winning.
Yeah, you're playing the character, not the game.
Yeah.
You're not fighting the gameplay. You're fighting the player.
And of course, like in those moments, in those games too, where it's easier to go, well, damn, they were obviously making a bad choice. It's obvious for me too when I'm making a bad choice and I make a mistake, and I have to hold that instead of going, well,
it's easier to recognize.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to recognize your flaws and admit that it's your flaws, then yes, it is easier to pinpoint that.
Yeah.
Instead of blaming at the clouds like you mentioned.
Yeah, and I don't think people have the stomach for that nowadays, especially for like people who are like Arxis enjoyers, and they come from the more newer crowd. They're not used to having to hold that much weight on their bad decision making.
No, of course not.
So
because the attention and all that stuff that caters to all that type of audience, right? That they're using or they focus on, they don't know. Basically, all they know is that eventually they just want to press these buttons and have fun, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I think a fighting game is a little bit more deep than that, right? And I think this game does a good balance between both of those. Can it be better? Absolutely. But you know what? This is just the beginning. This is just the beginning of the game, so I can't even wait, bro.
That's one thing a lot of people don't take into account too. A lot of people tend to compare this first version of the game to the last version of the game that they find
the last play
the most appealing, or like they like the most.
Yeah, they had like 7 patches already. And
7 patches, couple releases, and ultimate editions, ultimate final, grand patch.
Yep.
Safe
edition from grave, pull back from the zombies. Yep, absolutely.
So yeah, that's about it. Thanks guys for listening in.
Yes.
Thanks again for everybody subscribing to the channel, listening to a podcast. Hopefully, if you guys enjoyed it enough, you'll like the video. Comment down below anything you want to ask us, and we'll talk about it in the next podcast. Share our stuff, please. If
please.
You like,
let everyone know. And if you play the beta or haven't played or did not play one of the other ones, let us know if you're interested or have any questions about it. Maybe we can go more in details about our experience in there in the comments.
Yeah,
we want to hear from you guys. Okay.
Yeah, just as much as we want to hear from Ali. One last time. Where's he?
Oh my God, you heard him, right?
Yeah. Where's it? Well, make him bark.
No, I can't.
Ali, say something.
He's drinking water.
Oh, okay. Never mind. Thanks for listening in, guys. See you in the next podcast.
All right, peace.
Okay. So what did you want me to see with
No,
these?
that they were all dancing. Like, I forgot the name of that movie. It's just they're not dancing right now. But they were dancing really weird, creepy.
I mean, I think you'd go there.
No.
I think you would go there, bro. For a girl? You wouldn't go there?
For a girl?
Yeah, she really wants to go.
Am I doing something already with this girl?
No.
No, I'll say no. We can meet in
Wait,
the bar.
what's the
I can meet her
difference,
in a
bro?
bar after.
What's the difference?
Because that shit.
But that'll put you into like to further be able to
fuck someone already in there 3 times, and that's why she's going there.
Dude,
back.
you only know if paint is in there.
Or before.
Yeah, you put it in and then you come out with and it's paint dick.
Oh, this is not my color.
Ah, dude, and you chose green.
This is not my color.
You let a green dick in there? Come on, man.
Was it the Hulk?